That sounded expensive. That was a big book fall. Is everybody okay? I think they're all okay. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Allie. If you're new here, hello. If you're returning, welcome back. I appreciate you. Thank you for not being sick of me yet. So today I am doing a video that was requested by quite a few of you actually, which was a tour of my fantasy shelf. That's always nicely back here in the background, just living, laughing, loving. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're going to take a tour of my fantasy shelf, tell you what I rated any of the books that are on there and what books are on there that are on my TBR. I would say it's a solid 50-50 of what's on there that I have and have not read. And then I have a couple floating shelves of my favorite fantasy series that I will go through and give you my ratings of. There's a lot of books, so I don't necessarily know if I'm going to give you like the whole background overview of what the story itself is, especially if they're ones I haven't read. Most of them that I have read that I'm going to rate will be in my Enemies to Lovers fantasy edition. So if that's a trope you like and you like fantasy books, I will tag that video if you want to check it out. But for the most part, we're just going to go through what ones I have and have not read, what I starred them and why I starred them. But yeah, let's get started with just a general book tour. Okay, we're getting vloggy with it, and I don't know how to do that. Overview. We have, I don't know if it's gonna focus. I have floating bookshelves. We got ACOTAR, we got Quill Prince. We have, that's Coho, not fantasy things, but we have Greek mythology, which I'll probably include in this because I feel like it would fit. I don't read enough Greek mythology to do just like a separate Greek mythology video. And then we have the Red Queen series. But yeah, let's go through those first. I also have lots of bookish candles. Yeah, beauty guru style. This is my Raisin candle. These are all from Briarwick on Etsy. I love her candles and they smell great. So if you want bookish candles, go check her out. She's great. And this literally smells amazing. So, ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. This is one of my all-time favorite fantasy series. I read these way before book talk was like a thing. I love this series. It's a series that really got me back into reading after I didn't for like my entire time in high school and college. Generally speaking, I think I gave every single book from this either 4 or 5 stars. I believe I 4-starred the first one. I think I 5-starred the middle two, and I believe I also 5-starred Silver Flames. All in all, I pretty much 5-starred the whole series. I 3-starred Frost and Starlight because it was just there to set up the next book. Other than that, it was just the Christmas special of ACOTAR. The Quill Prince series, they're way up there and I don't want to get them down. Quill Prince series, I think overall I would give this series 4 stars. I think I 3 or 4-starred all the books from the series. I like ACOTAR better. It was a good series. I don't hate it. It made a floating shelf, so I liked it enough to put it on a floating shelf. Super popular series. Most people have read it. And then I do have the How King Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories, little like novella like storybook version, which is cute. And I also have a card-in candle. So then the Red Queen series, again, I think overall I would 4-star the series. Sometimes it was slow. The first book I think I 3-starred, and then the other like last 3, it's a 4-book series. I think the other 3 I switched back and forth between 3 and 4 stars because it was just kind of slow at some point. I finished all 4 books, but it's not necessarily a series that I'll be itching to reread again in the future. And then generally speaking, all this is my Greek mythology, but let me point out Greek mythology in the sense of literal just Hades and Persephone retelling for smut and smut only. I do have Circe, which I have read, and I 4-starred it because I'm not a Greek mythology buff. I don't know like the history of things, and Circe is definitely like, in my opinion, meant for somebody that like really knows their Greek mythology history. I understood the storyline. They were a good quote. It did take me a while to read it just because I don't necessarily know Greek mythology like history. And I have Song of Achilles, which I have not read because I read Circe first and it was kind of a struggle to get through it sometimes. And I'm worried that Song of Achilles is going to be the same way. And I know that that is like a Bible book. People adore it. I really want to like it, but it also like intimidates me to read. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on Song of Achilles. Give me some encouragement to actually read it. it. If you want me to reading vlog it, let me know, because that will actually really help me be motivated to read it if you guys want me to do a reading vlog of it. But I have the whole Touch of Darkness by Scarlett Sinclair series and a Briowick Hades candle, and then I just have a jar of dried flowers that I keep up there because Persephone vibes. But I have the whole Touch of Darkness series. Overall, again, probably 4-starred the series. I think I've 3 or 4-starred most of the books. I enjoyed them. Hades and Persephone retelling. That's all I know about Greek mythology, and that's pretty much all I read. I have another one over on my fantasy shelf. I don't know why I put it on my fantasy shelf and not up here, but yeah, that's the extent of my Greek mythology. That's pretty much it that I have for fantasy on my shelves. I think we will head over to my main fantasy bookshelf. Hello, we're back to vlog style because I cannot fit this whole shelf into one screen. We're gonna vlog style the overview of the shelf and then get into the reviews. So this is all true crime mystery type books. So basically those are all my crystals, and then this is my whole fantasy shelf. I like giraffes, that's my collection. Don't look at them, that's my hamster. He's a minor, don't look at him. But this is my whole shelf, and then I have my floatings. It's fairly full. I have this whole section that's just dedicated to Zodiac Academy. We will get into everything. This is my junk corner with all of my stuff I have nowhere to put. Also ignore that. We're focusing on books here. We like books here. But yeah, this is a general overview of what we're looking at, what we're working with. So let's get into it. Hello, welcome to my floor. I have my squishmallow so that I don't get uncomfy. I'm gonna start from the top that's way up here and work my way down. So yeah, I will grab all of my books off my first little shelf and we'll go through them and start from there. Okay, I have my whole first shelf stacked. So my whole top shelf, I have read almost everything on it. The only books from my top shelf that I have not read that are on my TBR is Onyx and Ivory and Shadow and Flame. It's a duet. I have not read it yet. It's been on my TBR for forever. I originally just had the first one, but my boyfriend bought me the second one as like a surprise Christmas thing. I did a video unboxing books he bought me as someone who has never read anything more than a Lego menu. So I'll tag that if you want to look at what my non-reader boyfriend got for me for books. So I have both of them now. I have not read either one. These have been on my TBR for forever. If you've read these, did you like them? What are your opinions? Convince me to read them faster. And then the only other thing that's on my TBR from the first shelf, Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. She wrote Red Queen series. I was mediocre about that series, so I haven't really pushed myself to read this. It's a fairly big book. I've read bigger books, but yeah, again, if you've read this, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Convince me to read it faster than what I have. Everything from my first shelf that I have read. I recently read To Kill a Kingdom. My overview, kind of general opinions on this book should be in my what I read in February. I will also take that. This, I 3-starred. It was okay. Wasn't my favorite. I read it. I did it. Been there, done that. I have the Bridge Kingdom duet. I think I 4-starred this duet in general as a whole. It was recommended to me under the pretense of like, if you liked ACOTAR, you'll like this. I did like it. Liked ACOTAR better, but they're not necessarily in the same like realm to be judged together, I guess. But I do recommend them. Girl assassin vibes, nauticalness. If you haven't read them, check them out. I love them. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I have Arabelle. I DNF'd that series. I couldn't get into it, and I know a lot of people love that series, so don't kill me. If you like it, that's great. You can like what you like. I couldn't get into Caraval on that whole series, so I was kind of worried that I wasn't gonna like this when this came out, but I love it. I like it so much better than Caraval, and I'm actually really anticipating the rest of the series coming out. I'd have to look. I don't remember if I 4 or 5-starred this, but I highly recommend it if you liked Caraval and you like Stephanie Garber's kind of like weird little world she makes. This definitely goes right in it, but I personally like this better than Caraval in that whole series. So then we have the Kingdom of the Wicked series, the first and second book. I believe I 4-starred this series in general. I adore it. I loved it. It got me out of a reading slump, so I definitely recommend it. Check it out if you haven't. But then the Dark Element series. I love this series. I don't think you understand. I'm obsessed with this series. It needs more recommendation. It's by Jennifer L. Armentrout, who wrote From Blood and Ash, which I'm coming up to next after this. I've read both series. This is superior. It really is. It's 3 books. It is White Hot Kiss, Stone Cold Touch, and Every Last Breath. This is like humans with demons and angels instead of like fays. It's so good. I'm in love with this series. This is a series that like I wish I could read over for the first time. The love interests for this series, Wrath. Like if you liked Wrath from Kingdom of the Wicked, you will love Wrath. Wrath and Wrath, they go together. If you have not read this series, Please go read it. I'm begging you, please. So yeah, so then I have the Blood and Ash series. Overall, I would say I like 3.5 starred this series as a whole. I think I 3-starred the first, 4-starred the second. The second one was my favorite so far. And I don't remember if I 3 or 4-starred the third book. Fourth book is coming out soon. I definitely think I'll read it because I liked the series enough to continue it, but I would still recommend Dark Element over this. I felt like this was kind of overrated in my opinion. Please don't kill me. But yeah, that is that for my top shelf, and we will get right on to the next one. Shelf 2. I feel like this shelf has a lot more TBR books that I have not read yet. But first, We Hunt the Flame and We Hunt the Stars. We Hunt the Stars is the second book. I have not read it yet, so this is TBR. But the first one, We Hunt the Flame, I believe I 4-starred this. Girl Assassins, very good, very popular, very rich culturally. It's a good story. Check it out if you have not. Surf It and Dove. I just picked this up. It's on my TBR, have not read it yet. Poppy War, been on my TBR forever, have not read it yet. Song of Wraith and Ruins, been on my TBR forever, have not read it yet. Coming across a theme, are we not? Entwined, a middle school staple that holds up. I will never not 5-star this book. It is one of my absolute favorites, but basically general overview, Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses, but make it dark. That's what this is. I adore it. Please go read it. I'm dying. It is YA, so it's not like spicy or anything. It's so good. Please go read it. Entwined by Heather Dixon. The Tiger at Midnight. I believe I 4-starred this book. Also, Girl Assassin. Assassin. That sounds like your McDonald's sauce. Assassin. Girl Assassin vibes. Live 'em, laugh 'em, love 'em. Great story. Culturally rich. Have not read the second one. Don't own it. So it's on my TBR, but it was very good. I highly recommend it. Kron's Game, Kron's Fate, been on my TBR forever. Don't remember what it's supposed to be about at this point because it's been on my TBR for so long. So again, if you've read any of these that have been on my TBR, let me know your thoughts and opinions on them because it might convince me to read them faster than what I have. The Atlas 6, please don't hate me. I DNF'd it. I couldn't get into it. I might go back to it at some point. I'm very much a mood reader, so I don't necessarily know if it was more like I wasn't just in the mood to read it at that point, but I read maybe like the first 100 pages and I DNF'd it, but it's still on my shelf because I'm hoping to go back to it and know a ton of people love it, but as of right now, it's DNF'd. I'm sorry. The Beautiful by Renee Audier, TBR, have not read it yet. The Gilded Ones, this is on one of my monthly reading wrap-ups. YA, I 3-starred it because it just seems very YA. It could have been enhanced in a lot more, had a lot of potential. I do recommend it though. I 3-starred it, so I still like it. Again, kind of Girl Assassin vibes, but also kind of like middle school dystopian era. Very much like Red Queen vibes. It's kind of like a simpler version of Red Queen in a way. But yeah, Small Favors by Erin A. Craig. I 5-starred this book. I love this book. I put this on my fantasy shelf, but this could also very much go on like a thriller mystery shelf that's above this. I love this so much. It's got the weird mystery aspects of it, but it also has like magic and stuff in it. That's why I keep it on my fantasy shelf. I adore this book. I can't tell you how much I love this book. It's so good. Nobody talks about it. And it's bees, dude. It's got bees in it. Everybody likes bees. Save the bees. The bees might not like me, but I like the bees. But I'm serious. Small Favors is so good. If you want maybe even like an intro into like a mystery thriller, I highly recommend this book. Please go read it. I'm begging you. And then yeah, back to like what I said earlier about Persephone and Hades being my only Greek mythology. I don't know why I have this on this shelf when all the rest of my Greek mythology is over there. But Neon Gods, I 5-starred it. It's simply a smut book, but it's smut that adds to the plot, and that's why I like it. We love smut on this channel. It's a safe space. That's it for my second shelf. So now we're gonna go right on to these that you guys can see more now. Next shelf. Scythe. TBR. Have not read it. Wicked Like Wildfire. Bought it at a discount place because I thought the cover was pretty. TBR. Have not read it. Slight. Discount store. I'm mad that there's sticker residue on it, but I bought it anyways. TBR. Have not read it. These Divided Shores. Bought this at a discount store without realizing that it was the second book to a series, even though it literally says sequel to These Rebel Waves. So I have not read it yet because I don't have the first one. The Night in Its Moon. I bought this because I saw the TikTok author like advertising it and it seemed interesting. I guess it's supposed to be like a bisexual fantasy thing like ACOTAR, but they're bi. Check out her TikTok. The author is Piper CJ. Check out her TikTok if you want. There was recently some drama with her and like her editor and stuff. She explains it on her TikTok. I'd already bought the book, so feel free to check out that whole situation and the whole TikTok explanation of everything to decide decide if you want to support this author or not. I bought this book before everything went down, so I'll still probably read it. I have yet to decide if I am going to continue to support the author. Check out her TikTok in that whole situation for more information, because I don't necessarily know if I have enough information to try and explain it to you guys. But CJ Piper, that should still be her TikTok. Check it out if you are interested in this book and that whole drama situation. Starling, bought this simply because it had an aesthetic cover. I read it, I 3-starred it, very YA. This was in my most recent what I read in February, if you want my big synopsis of everything. Caravel, like I said before, I finished the whole book, but I don't care enough about it to read the series. I don't remember what I rated this because I was honestly just confused through the whole thing. Nature of Witches, been on my TBR forever, have not read it. The most beautiful cover under the dust jacket I've ever seen. So even if I don't like it, I will keep it for aesthetics. But yeah, have not read it yet, on my TBR. Ace of Spades, haven't read it yet, on my TBR. It might not actually be fantasy. It might actually just straight up be dark academia. But for some reason I was thinking that there was some sort of like magic system to it. So it's on my fantasy shelf for now. Once I actually read it, I will decide if it's actually supposed to be there. On my TBR, haven't read it yet. Gods of Jade and Shadow, been on my TBR since I made a TBR. Have not read it yet. Traitors to the Damned, this is by A.R. Stern. Also, this is a self-published TikTok book author. I love this book. I 5-starred it. It's great. Please go read it. I think there's been a cover redesign and stuff since then. You can find it on Amazon or look up the author on TikTok. I believe the second one is out, which I have not read, but I need to. It's so good. It gives me Six of Crow vibes. I really think that if you like Six of Crows, you will like this. Very much like a found family, got heisty things going on. It's so good. I will read you the back just as like a general overview because I've literally never heard anybody talk about this book ever. Being a human in the kingdom of Willowmore, violence is practically given at birth. For Lauren, it means a life of violence, loneliness, and anger. Her advice on living with magical creatures who hate your blood and kind: learn to fight, kill, and survive. When the queen puts a price on her head, she finally finds freedom, but has it quickly taken away from her. As she is taken by a strange group of men living deep within the forest of the damned, she must decide how she will survive her new life. Will she fight? Will she kill? Or allow something within her to change and allow her to finally start living? As she learns of the magical world around her and the past she never knew she had, will it change her heart, or will her anger and pain continue to haunt her? I cannot recommend it enough. Please go check it out. It really gives me Six of Crows. If you liked Six of Crows, Grishaverse stuff, I really think you would like this. Traitors to the Damned, because it's kind of a hard cover to see. Traitors to the Damned by A.R. Sterling. Again, this is the cover. You can find it on Amazon. Look her up on TikTok. The Bone Shard Daughter, been on my TBR forever, haven't read it because it's big and I haven't felt the effort to put in the time to another big book. My pile's gonna tip over again. Legendborn, think I 3-starred this. I just was not a fan of the whole King Arthur thing. Never have been. Super popular series, and it does have good POC representation. That's probably my favorite thing about the book. I just am not a fan of the whole King Arthur storyline, but if that's something you're into, I still highly recommend this book. It's very popular and people like it for a reason. It just wasn't necessarily my taste of story and storyline. And then finally, House of Earth and Blood and House of Sky and Breath. This recently came out. I 5-starred both of them. Again, Sarah J. Maas is an author that has some controversy. Feel free to look it up if you want. I secondhanded the first one. The second one just came out and it would be like years before I could buy it secondhand, and I liked the series enough to buy it from her. That's the only way I could get it. I know that she can be controversial, so I apologize if that makes you uncomfortable. I did not buy it from her directly with Pride, but that is the best place that I could find it, and it was still really good. And the whole ACOTAR series, I love them, and I wish that she did not do crappy things to make people uncomfortable. Next shelf. So my next shelf is just this. This is just the whole Zodiac Academy series. I adore this series. I've explained it in a ton of videos. They are in most of my book recommendation videos. It's a big enough series to have its own shelf. There's still 2 more main books. I have the first 6. The 7th just came out. I don't have it. And then the 8th is still to be released. So the main series will 100% take up this whole shelf. And then there's also like 4 novellas already. already. This whole series is just 5s across the board, so they deserve their own shelf, but they also physically need their own shelf. But that's that whole shelf. We'll get on to my bottom boy right here. My Final Fantasy shelf. We have the Sky Hunter duet, which is Sky Hunter and Still Striker. Aesthetic books. They are gorgeous. Like, even under the dust jackets, these books are beautiful. So I like their stories, but they would also just be great books for aesthetics. Overall, I think I 4-starred this series. I think I 4-starred both of these books. They give me very much middle school dystopian vibes, and I love them. Please go read them if you have not. They're very good. They're YA, but they're good YA. House of Salt and Sorrows, I think I 3 or 4-starred. Very much reminds me of Entwined, which I 5-starred. All the Scars and Teeth, I just bought randomly because I liked the cover. I think I 3-starred it. The second one is out. I have not read it yet, so I guess it's on my TBR, but I don't necessarily know if I'm going to be going out and buying it anytime soon. Nautical vibes, if you want some nautical vibe books. Veil of Truth and Trickery by Annalee Ford. This was another TikTok author that recommended me their book. I 2-starred it. I didn't like it. It's a reverse harem, which is fine. I have nothing against that. I didn't like the storyline. 90% of this book, they were just walking through the woods on horses. There was the beginning introduction, she met all the guy characters, and then they were just on horseback in the woods. The best part was the ending. There was a really big cliffhanger at the end, so if I read the second one, it's literally just because of the cliffhanger at the end. The whole rest of the book, I didn't like it. If you want a reverse harem, check it out. But I personally just was not a fan of it, which I was kind of sad about. I really wanted to like this because, again, it's just like, it's the same thing under the dust jacket, but like, I appreciate books that have like actually nice covers. And this is also self-published, like Traitors to the Damned. But I feel like this was very much a lesson of don't judge a book by its cover, because these were both self-published and there's a very much difference in like quality. This book was just a better story. Like, a pretty cover could not save this book for me. But if you want a reverse harem, check it out. It might work for you. It just, storyline did not work for me. Fable by Adrienne Young. Got it secondhand. There's half a sticker on here, which makes me angry because these are very pretty cover books. Have not read it yet. On my TBR. The Man, the Myth, the Legend, Prior of the Orange Tree, The Big Fat Boy. This took me like a month and a half to read, and I did a lot of it over audiobook at my job. I feel like I would still be trying to finish this book if I didn't do like half of it over audiobook. Whoever tells you audiobook does not count as reading is wrong, and I will fight them. They can meet me in the parking lot behind the Payless Shoes and we will fight. I think I 4-starred this book. It's good. It's high fantasy. This is not in any way ACOTAR where there's plot and character. Like, this is high fantasy. You will spend half of the chapter just the author describing the setting around you. Very heavy world building. It's a very intense book. So if you want a light, happy fantasy, this is not for you. Like, 800 pages, and so is stuff like Crescent City, but Crescent City is so much easier to digest than Prior of the Orange Tree, because this is just straight up dense world building. I do recommend it if you like high fantasy world building stuff. I highly recommend it. It's a great story. LGBTQ, if high fantasy is not your thing and you're trying to get into it, I would not start here. This is a lot. This is a very dense book. Took me forever to read, but I read it and it's good. I recommend it if it's your thing. Ash by Melinda Lowe. I feel like this was a middle school staple. I never read it. Still haven't read it. Been on my TBR forever. The Girl the Sea Gave Back by Adrienne Young. I read Sky in the Deep and I loved it. This has been on my TBR forever, but I'm a little bit more encouraged to read it after reading Sky in the Deep and loving it, but I still at this moment have not read it. Still on my TBR. Romanov, TBR, have not read it yet. And then last but not least, on my TBR, have not read it yet, The Wrath Under Dawn by Renee Audier. Been recommended to me all over. Haven't gotten into it. Again, I have The Beautiful by Renee Audier, so hopefully reading this or the other will give me more encouragement to read the other, because I feel like a fairly common theme is that I have multiple books by multiple authors that I haven't read any of, and I had a bad habit of like ordering entire series at once and then not liking them. I do have the Shadow and Bone series. I DNF'd that series. I didn't like it. It didn't do it for me, and I know that that's a lot of people's favorite series, and I felt really bad doing it, but I couldn't. I got halfway through the first book and DNF'd the rest of it, and I had bought a box set of all 3 books, and that is the series that made me stop buying series at all at one time, because I bought all 3 books and never even finished the first one. Shadow and Bone ruined my habit, which is probably fine because it's an expensive habit. But yeah, that is all of the books that are currently on my fantasy shelf, my ratings on the ones that I have read, every one that is on my TBR. If you have read any of the ones that are on my TBR that I haven't read yet, convince me to read them. If there's any on there that I haven't read yet that you would like reading vlogs for, let me know. I would appreciate it. Leave your thoughts and opinions on my TBR for fantasy. Now that you know what I have read and what I rated them and what I'm interested in reading them If you have any recommendations that you think I would like or other people would like, feel free to leave them down below in the comments and I will take a gander at them. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you'd like to follow me anywhere else on my social medias, they will all be linked down below as always and on my home screen channel banner. Also, I will have the link down below my Amazon book wish list if you guys want to send me any books. Yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. I love you. Please stay safe and I will see you guys somewhere else on the internet. Bye.